So let's get started. Our agenda for today will give an overview and background of both the master's degree and the certificate programs in health data science. We'll talk a little bit about the requirements for each program and also the application process, which is important certainly for applying to our program. And then we'll definitely have time for answers, questions at the very end. So I'll turn it over to our program director, Dr. John Kornack, who will talk a bit about the programs. John?
Thank you, Eva. So I'd also like to echo welcoming everybody onto this meeting. Just to give a little bit of background about MiHDaS and CiHDaS, they're new programs that are starting this summer. So we're all very excited about this new program. And it's really designed to meet what is a growing need for data scientists that have expertise in health science applications. There's a lot of data science programs out there, but there's very few that meet the needs of the health sciences, health industry specifically, which have very specific needs that we cover in this program. The courses that we have are not brand new. They're expanded from what it was a data science track for the training and clinical research program. And we've sort of extended this to MiHDaS as a 7-quarter program for as a master's program, and CiHDaS as a 4-quarter certificate program. And there are links to websites for both of these programs. Next slide. A little about the faculty that we have here. MiHDaS and CiHDaS are just one program among many educational programs and training programs that we have within the Department of Epidemiology and Biostatistics. And the faculty within our department come from very diverse disciplines from across the university. And we collaborate with departments across the whole university. So the potential to get involved in different aspects of health science is very wide. I'm leading the program, and we have some specific health data science faculty. You'll be working in biostatistics, epidemiology, and particularly in data science, and we have specific faculty for that goal. Going from left to right, you see myself, there's Aaron Scheffler, who works a lot in sort of imaging stuff and runs the introductory data science course. Then we have Elaine Allen, who's been integral in helping get this program set up, and she'll be running the master's seminar program. Stathis Yanatas is he's got a background in neuroscience, but does incredible work on building packages for data science within the software language of R. And he'll be teaching sort of the introduction to R and then data management in R and so forth. Jean Feng runs our central machine learning course, Machine Learning 1, and then Gilma Valdez is the final person you see there. He runs Machine Learning 2, which is gets you a little bit further down into the weeds and understanding the machinery that goes on behind machine learning methods. Next slide, please. The student population we have is going to be very wide. So many of the, as I said, this course grew out of a data science track in training and clinical research. And so you'll be mixing within, when you're in class with a very diverse group of students. That can be people that have recently graduated as undergraduates, pre-med students. We have UCSF staff take our courses, like clinical research coordinators and actual data scientists that want to learn new skills, PhD students, medical students, nurses, residents, postdocs, fellows, and faculty, biotech industry professionals. So these are a sort of great range of people to be able to work with and network with. So you'll be mixing with all of these students, you'll be working on projects together with these students, and it opens a lot of opportunities. Next slide, please. So here's the course plan for the certificate. Basically, 4 quarters. The first quarter is summer. We have responsible conduct of research, opportunities and challenges of complex biomedical data. So that's the introductory data science machine learning course that Aaron Scheffler teaches. And you also start your introduction to R in this quarter with CiHDaS. As I said, we're specifically aimed at health sciences, so we think it's really key that you learn epidemiological thinking. And so epidemiological methods is a core course that you take in the fall quarter. You then go on to programming health data science 2, again with CiHDaS, where you actually start to get more involved with real data that you might see in the health sciences. Start to cover some biostatistics. There's a set of 3 courses for biostatistics. The first is the introductory one, Biostat 200. And we also have a seminar series where we're going to look at specific problems in health data science. You get sort of outside speakers from industry who might talk about ethics or particular problems that they're working on there, career opportunities. And as we progress through the year, that will move towards you giving presentations on actual projects that you're working on. It's pretty exciting to have that component going on throughout the year. In the winter quarter, we move on to the second biostat course, 208, which starts to look at sort of regression methods. And I should say these courses are very much focused with clinical thinking at the back of them. So even though they're biostatistics, it's not so much about being able to derive a t-test from scratch or anything like that. It's really geared at understanding how to apply the methods, look for problems in interpretation, and so forth. Then you get into a core machine learning course with Jean Feng, the machine learning in R for biomedical sciences, where you'll cover a wide range of actual machine learning techniques that are used in practice. We'll then move on in the spring quarter, you cover the third biostatistical methods, which goes on to more advanced regression methods and also looks at common problems that occur in biostatistics. The advanced machine learning course with Gilma Valdez, and that's pretty much what you have to cover in the certificate. So it's a total of 28.5 credits. There'll also be optional courses you can take, and if for some reason any of these courses are something that you've covered quite clearly before, there may be potential to place out. Okay, next slide, please. The master's course then goes on for another 3 quarters, and it mainly consists of working on the Capstone project in year 2. So we don't expect any additional coursework in year 2, though you would be open to taking other optional courses. UCSF requires a minimum of 36 credits, and you see that just performing what is needed for the master's program gives you 35.5. But again, we expect some people to place out of the odd course here and there. So year 1 follows the same as the certificate. In year 2, we have in each quarter, you're working on your Capstone project. And also we have a master's seminar series, which then becomes much more focused on you presenting work as you're working on it in your Capstone project. And finally, there's an educational practice component that I'll talk about in a moment. Next slide. So the Capstone project, you can think of this to some degree almost like you're performing an apprenticeship in the field. We really try to use this year to set you up so that you have all of the skills and experience that you need to go out into the real world and start working as a data scientist in health. And there are 4 components to the Capstone project. The first is that you have to submit a first authored publication. We don't require that it's actually accepted as a publication. You just need to get to the point where the committee considers it satisfactory for a submission. And it can be related to data science methods or in development, or it can be more about sort of application of data science methods. And you'll be working with a committee that will consist of a data science expert, maybe a biostat expert, or a problem area clinical expert. Exactly how that composition goes depends on the specific project that you're working on. You would also be expected to give an oral presentation or a poster presentation at a scientific conference, and that can be national or international. You write a report on background methodology and technological issues related to the submitted publications. Publications themselves can be a little bit terse, so and just discuss what methods are used. And so we'd want to see an extra document that shows that you understand the background methodology that you're using. And finally, we want you to compile a code and analysis portfolio that you can take out when you're going to look for your career, so you can market your skills. Next slide. The educational component is something that's going to be required of every master's student, and what we expect is that you work as a teaching assistant sometime during year 2 of the program, so in one of your quarters. You'll be working on a course that you've taken during the first year in the program, and there'll be a kind of system where people will be able to ask for which courses they would prefer to be TA on, and there'll be specific criteria set up for how people get selected when more people want to work on a particular course than there are slots available. But we think this is a really important skill to be able to gain. So, and particularly because you're going to have a very diverse audience in there. And so you'll be in labs working one-on-one, and you'll be learning to be able to explain to people that may be more clinically focused than you or have a different range of skills. So how to be able to explain what may be concepts that are unfamiliar to them in a way that can be understood. And that really is a critical skill for working as a data scientist as part of a team, probably more so than your actual technical skills. Okay, next slide. And I'll pass it back to Eva at this point. Thank you.
Thanks, John. So I'm going to go over a little bit about the application process for these 2 programs. Our application, it lives on our graduate division application site, which you see the link there. We can also put it into the chat if you don't have access to that. Among all the list of programs offered here through the graduate division at UCSF, you would select health data science. For both, this is a common application for both the master's and certificate program. One of the first questions in the application itself asks you to select your degree objective, and that's where we'll separate the certificate applications from the master's application. So all you need to know is just look for health data science, click on that to apply and open your application. As far as the application materials, we require unofficial transcripts from all institutions attended. Please do not give us official and sealed and locked transcripts as a part of your submission. It does create some problems on the back end for when we download your application. So please, unofficial is just great. If you completed coursework or degrees outside of the United States, we ask that you submit your transcripts translated into English. At this time during the application stage, we don't need evaluations, but having your transcripts translated into English will help our admissions committee understand the types of coursework and preparation you have coming into our program. However, that said, if you do end up matriculating into our program, you're accepted and you begin our programs, we will require transcripts from institutions outside of the United States be evaluated by World Education Service using the course-by-course evaluation. So if you want to just sort of do both things, have it translated and evaluated at the same time, we suggest using the course-by-course evaluation from the start. We require 3 letters of recommendation, and I see a question in the Q&A here about, well, what if for those of us it's been some time since you graduated from your last degree program, will professional references suffice, or do we need to find a faculty member? And I would say for those who it's been some time and you don't have a faculty recommender, identify the individuals who can best speak to your ability and your preparedness for our program, and that will be just fine. And so really find folks who can really speak to your potential, and that will help tremendously here. We require a resume or CV. And we have 2 written statements. One is a statement of purpose, and another is the personal history statement. The statement of purpose really allows us to understand better why our program and what this degree program can do for furthering your education and your career. Your personal history statement gives you a little bit more space to tell us more about you. If there were any challenges along the way that might not be reflected in just looking at a transcript, please describe those in the personal history statement. But really that second statement is for us to get to know you better outside of your educational pursuits. I'll note that there is a 2,000 character limit for each statement, and this includes spaces. So when you're using your word processor, definitely pay attention to the character limit, including spaces. There is an application fee, and this is something that is charged by the graduate division. There are need-based fee waivers available to U.S. citizens and permanent residents, and that all goes through, is handled through the application system. We don't see that or we don't make the decision of who gets a fee waiver, and unfortunately, international applicants are not eligible for an application fee waiver. And lastly, for those who need to meet our English proficiency requirements, and you can read more about this on our website, we do require TOEFL or IELTS scores. There's more specific and detailed information in our application about how to submit those scores. And our application is live now, and the application deadline is April 1st of this year. In terms of funding your program, we do have our program fee for the 2021-22 academic year for the health data science programs, and this goes for both the certificate and the master's program, is currently about $38,000. Now, this is the program fee for just this academic year. We go through a longer approval process with the UC to post fees each year. And so those fees are updated on an annual basis. So this fee is really just for 1 year. So for the certificate program, you can expect to pay about $38,000, but for our 2-year master's program, students will be responsible for paying 2 years of fees and tuition. Please note, these fees do not include the cost of books and supplies, housing, or personal expenses. As our program, the tuition fees for our program are the same for all students, regardless of residency status in California or the United States. So all international students and U.S. citizens pay the same fees and tuition. Our Student Financial Services, which is our financial aid office, offers opportunities for U.S. citizens and eligible non-citizens to apply for federal loans or federal work-study jobs. And this is all handled through our financial aid office. And please do submit your application for FAFSA to get that ball rolling. For applicants outside of the United States, you must be eligible to obtain an F1 visa or a similar visa, and also demonstrate that they have financial support to attend the program and live in the United States. We have a wonderful team at our International Students and Scholars Office who supports our international students with the visa process after accepting our offer of admission. And that will all happen down the line later on this spring. I'll turn it over back to John to talk a little bit more about careers.
Yeah, so there's really a lot of opportunities that for data science in health, and partly the program itself grew out of that need, that we really need a lot more people that understand and can apply data science methods, but understand the specific needs of the health sciences. These are, the career opportunities are very much related to working with clinical health scientists, collaborating with them. They would have primarily the health expertise, but you need to be able to communicate with them in a way that they understand, and that when you're working in data science, that you're able to respond to the needs of the clinical project. There are career opportunities both in industry, actually in industry, academia, and in government. The Bay Area is obviously a particular hotbed for the biotech industry, but we have even just at UCSF, the need for data scientists who can work in the health field is growing exponentially, and demand is way outstripping supply. So at some point as you're going through the program, you would be thinking about whether you're looking more to stay within academia or academic research, or whether you're interested in heading into industry, or working in government positions. Companies like Google are setting up health departments, and people that can understand the specific issues in health data science would be are needed there too. So that there's really just a lot of opportunity in the field. I think I hand it back to you at this point, Eva, right?
Thanks, John. So we've been live, so to speak, for the last about month and a half or so, and we've had some frequently asked questions come in, so we can address some of this now, and then we'll open it up to questions after this. So the first is, can individual ticker courses be applied to MiHDaS or CiHDaS? So this goes for anybody who's taken any of our individual courses through the Training and Clinical Research program, and it depends. This is a bit longer of a conversation that we need to have and evaluate how long ago you may have taken the course. But what I can say is we can't issue official academic credit for courses that have been taken in the past when you were not a matriculated student. So while we can likely, from the program side, say you've satisfied the course, what you'll need to do is to meet your minimum unit requirements, which will require you to likely take some additional elective courses in place of that course you've taken in the past. Can I enroll in this course, either certificate program or the master's program part-time? Unfortunately, not in our inaugural year. We're putting a lot of our effort into building the program as it was designed, but this is something that we'd like to explore. We know that there are a lot of working professionals that are attracted to programs like this, and so please check back with us in a few years. We may be in a better position to build out a course plan that is a course plan that students are able to take part-time. Can I complete this master's or certificate program completely online? Again, not in the inaugural year. We're wanting to build this out again as it was designed in person. And so please, again, check back with us in future years. We may be able to offer this in a way that makes sense educationally, and that makes for a positive experience for the students. And then the last frequently asked question that we've been getting is, can I transfer to CiHDaS or MiHDaS from another UCSF program? I know that there's a lot of alignment, particularly with our clinical research programs, and the answer is no. The UCSF students may not move from program to program, sort of finish what you started, and certainly you can build in and explore taking individual courses to supplement the program that you're already in. But unfortunately, the university does not allow students to move from program to program. And I think we have some other questions that have come up throughout. So I'm going to invite Inez Bailey to help us out with some of our questions.
Hello, everyone. Happy to join you, Eva and John. We do have a few questions that have come through social media, Twitter, as well as through the Q&A. So I'm going to start with a couple of questions directed at you, John. And the first is, can you talk about how this program would be beneficial to someone who is a clinician? And the second part of that is going to ask you to do the same thing for those who are already working in data science with health systems providers. What value do you see for those two audiences in this program?
So let's start with the question about the potential benefit to clinicians. And I can just describe from example, there are clinicians that I work with, or clinical researchers, I should say, who over time have kind of drifted to wanting to do more and more of the understand the analysis side of their work, to work more with data directly. So if you're in clinical work and you actually find that your interest in research does move more towards that side, then this can be really beneficial to you. It means that sort of the work, very often the people that do transfer that way, they're working with statisticians anyway, or data scientists, and then slowly they find that they want to, well, actually, I'd like to try and see if I can learn to do this on my own anyway, and work more distantly with statisticians, that they still run things by statisticians, they still, or again, machine learning experts, data scientists, but they tend to want to understand more of what they're doing on that analysis side. And I think it also benefits their clinical research when they do that, in that they really understand what the analysis methods are actually saying and what they're not saying. And so to understand the limitations of their research, and basically to just perform better research overall and better reporting of their research. What was the second question?
Yeah, essentially, we were talking about the value of the program for those who are clinicians and for those who are already working, doing data science work with health systems and providers.
Yeah, so that's a trickier one, I think, for people who are already, if you're already if you're already an expert data scientist and you know all of the field, then there's probably not a lot you're going to gain from doing the course. But if you are applying your data science in one very specific area, I think it you know, depending on what background you've come up through, if you came up through a very mathematical background, for example, I think this course would open you up to a lot of ideas of how the data science research can connect with clinical thinking and how it can improve the health sciences. Vice versa, if you've gone into data science because you're more of just a general researcher and gradually started doing more data science, then I think it will give you the benefit of understanding more of the foundations of what data science and its link with statistics, which is obviously very strong, and statistical thinking and data science thinking, and how to carefully do that. So I think there are benefits, but again, if you're already you know, feel that you're an expert in health sciences and in data science, then that's really what we're going to cover. So
thank you, John. The next question that I'd like to pose to Eva is in the financial aid space, and it's a question about scholarships that are available. Eva, can you answer the question, are there scholarships offered for this program?
Yes, thanks for the question. So currently there are not any scholarships available through our program specifically. We hope to be able to offer some in future years. And once that is available, we'll certainly make that known on our websites and probably in a future information session, as I'm sure scholarships are a popular perk. However, again, I would say that for those who need my financial assistance and who are eligible, I would contact and go through our financial aid office to find support for paying for our program.
Another question for you, Eva, maybe the next couple, and this one's a bit related to ones that were asked of John earlier, is are there individual courses available in data science? Actually, I think maybe even Eva or John might be the right person to answer that question. John, do you want to talk about the individual courses that are available? And then Eva, if you'd like to add anything about how students sign up for those courses, that would be great.
Sure. So you can take individual courses at UCSF a la carte. And we, the list, maybe we want to go back to the slide that had the program on, Eva. So, no, any of these courses are available to take on their own. Though I don't think the data science program seminar makes much sense, but so you can just take the opportunities and challenges of complex biomedical data, which is our introduction to data science overall. If you're interested in learning R, then there's our sequence of 2 courses in R, and also the machine learning in R course, which follows on from that, which requires understanding of R in the first place. You can go through the sequence of biostatistics courses, or you can pick, if you feel that I know linear and logistic regression, but I really need to understand survival analysis of mixed effects, you could potentially go straight to the Biostat 3 course in the spring quarter and work on that. So yeah, my understanding is you can apply to join any of these courses a la carte, but you should check the requirements as to what knowledge is required before you take the course, especially in the later courses.
And what I'll do is I'll put into the chat right now our main website for the training clinical research program, which is where you can find out more information about each individual course, the fees associated with that, and how to apply. It also lists when these courses are offered throughout the academic year. They're offered at all times. And here at UCSF, we're on a quarter system. So each course will be about 10 weeks long during the traditional academic quarter. And for our summer course, just about half the time, I believe. Yeah, the link to our training and clinical research website is right there in the chat. But for those of us watching on the recording, I suppose it's ticr@ucsf.edu.
Thank you, Eva. A follow-up question to that is, when are these courses held? Are they during the workday or are they in the evening?
That's a really great question. So these are typically during, the courses are typically taught during the workday. Now we have a wide audience, and we know that many of you have other responsibilities throughout the work day, certainly. So our courses are typically bunched up on certain days of the week. We try to I guess, front load them on Tuesdays and Thursdays, approximately. Sometimes scheduling doesn't allow for that. However, these courses are also all almost, excuse me, all the lectures are recorded. And so students can participate in these courses asynchronously. If you have a clinic on a certain day and it conflicts against a course that is taught live, the recordings are posted traditionally at the end of the day and made available on the course site. So you can feasibly be able to watch the recordings after the fact and perhaps make a live small group discussion section for that in-person interaction with your course directors or your TAs.
Great, and got a couple of international student related questions, one that I'm going to pose to Eva and one that I may answer myself. And so the first question is, let's see, can international dentists apply for the courses as well?
Yes, absolutely. If this is an area that you want to improve upon your own training, certainly yes. We don't limit this to traditional clinicians. pharmacists, nurses, doctors, and all the like. I think this is one of the types of programs that can span many industries and many professions.
And then the second question was, upon completion of MiHDaS, are students eligible for the STEM OPT?
That is a fantastic question. and this is something I would like to confer with our International Students and Scholars Office about. I'm
happy to jump in and say that I was able to do that as soon as the question came in, and the answer is yes. So students who graduate from the program would be eligible for the STEM OPT. Yeah.
Great news.
Courtesy of ISSO live really quickly. So the last question that I see right now in the Q&A says, what makes UCSF's program unique? John, do you want to?
Yeah. Well, I think it's unique in that it combines the data science component and the computational part and the mathematical part and so on with thinking in health and clinical sciences. So, for example, the part of it, you're expected to have an understanding of biostatistical thinking and also epidemiology too. I believe there may be, that I'm aware of, 2 other programs in the country that are like this. And I think Dartmouth and Harvard each have programs. And also there's one in the UK in Liverpool. Those are the only ones I know of. There may be others. And what I think is really unique to this program is the second year master's apprenticeship aspect of this that I don't believe you'll find anywhere else, where you really are immersed in clinical research with some of the leading medical research groups around the country and around the world, basically, where you'll be working on projects that actually matter directly and have the potential to make a difference. And this will be something that you walk out with on your CV. And the networking, the level of networking potential within health sciences as well as data sciences is beyond what would be achievable anywhere else.
Awesome. So, John, we don't, because this is our inaugural year, we don't have an alumni network yet. But can you talk a little bit about the community of the program, the students that have been doing data science through clinical research, or the faculty community?
Yeah, I mean, I could say that our data science, as opposed to more conventional biostatistics, faculty has really expanded in the last few years. Each of Stathis Test, Jean Feng, Aaron Scheffler, they're very much in the, I won't say new breed, but in that new sort of group that works with big data, with machine learning problems, with things that high dimensional data that traditional statisticians have not been as much involved in, and also in high performance computing and so forth. Within the training and clinical research program, as we've had the data science track, you really do see more and more understanding of the needs of data science right across campus, and how critical it is to do it carefully and well. And anybody you work with on campus, partly I guess because of the supply and demand issue of data scientists, people are incredibly appreciative when working with people in the data science and statistics field. So overall, it's a great community to work in. And I did my undergraduate at the University of Nottingham as a mathematician, and my PhD there as a statistician, and I came to UCSF almost immediately after that. And it's taken me many years to really appreciate that the environment at UCSF compared to other institutions, in that we really are so data rich as an institution. We have data of so many different types within health. And I work with a lot of faculty members at other institutions who just really want to get data and to be able to interact with the people that collect the data, and students are not able to do that, and they really miss out on that experience, and that being able to learn to, there is a gap between clinical scientists and data scientists and statisticians, potential communication block between the two, and learning to be able to overcome that and to work with these really amazing scientists, clinical scientists in their field is an awesome experience that I think is unique to our community.
Fantastic. Thank you, John. We actually had one last question that came in, and it was about Python versus R. The question is that Python tends to be overtaking the industry right now. Will there be opportunities to do coursework leveraging it versus working in R?
So that's a very good question. We are more R focused, but we are planning a Python course. I would dispute that Python is overtaking the industry. I think the industry is very fluid at the moment. R and Python are both used extensively. I think R might be used a little bit more within health sciences than Python, but each of them has their own advantages and disadvantages, and I don't think it even ends there. I mean, Julia is the new up and coming language that is likely to be another competitor in the data science field. I think so there will be opportunity to learn Python, and there will also be, if that's what you would, for example, you go to the master's program or projects that you do within the certificate, if you want to run with those projects, we're using Python instead of R, you would be supported in doing that. But the truth is that we are more R focused than Python for the present.
So that seems to be the last of the questions that we have gotten. If there is anything that either John or Eva would like to add as we close, I'd invite you to do that now.
I'd just say thanks to everybody for attending. I hope this answered your questions. If not, feel free to email that email, healthdatasci@ucsf.edu. And if it's more of a logistic question, then Eva might answer it. And if it's more of a technical question about the courses, then I'm more than happy to answer it. And if people have kind of questions that they feel they can't just ask by email, then we can arrange. I'm happy to have a discussion with anybody over Zoom at any time. So thanks again for attending.
Thank you. Eva?
That's all. We look forward to hearing from you, and thank you for joining us today.
Perfect. I think just a quick reminder that our application deadline, I believe, is April 1st. And yes, the Health Data Science at UCSF email is available for any additional questions that come to mind after the close of this call. So thank you all. It was a pleasure to have you.